If you're looking for a way to radically improve the quality of deals in your pipeline, you got to use this simple strategy. Time and time again, it proves, and it definitely did work for me. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, I'm going to tell you this one strategy that literally 3x my pipeline. This happened, and I'm going to break it down for you and show you, as well as I'm going to tell you details about that all in 5 minutes. If this is your first time listening to this podcast, know this show is designed to do two things. One, help you to 3 to 5x your sales pipeline. And two, we want to help you to close twice as many deals. This is not complicated. It's not difficult. It's just simply doing the fundamentals over and over and over again. And this episode is no different. Let me tell you about that. So as a founder and as the CEO of the organization, I don't get a chance to do a lot of individual outreach. I have meetings. I also have to do some of the big things, go on podcasts, to go speak on stages and so forth, as well as I lead some of our training sessions. So it facilitates some of our cohorts. So it doesn't allow me a lot of time, but I strive to put a couple hours of prospecting on the calendar. Sometimes it does get eaten up, I'm not going to lie to you, with internal meetings or whatnot. But I strive to make sure I keep that time booked. But here's what happened. Because as a CEO, I don't necessarily have the accountability as an individual rep may have the accountability with. And some sales reps right now, you find yourself in this situation. Perhaps you work for SMB or you work in an organization where you have a lot of latitude, being a remote worker. There's something about that accountability that makes a difference. And literally, I'm just telling you the answer right now. That's that one thing that made a difference. So we have this program. I've been a part of a mastermind where I was with several entrepreneurs. These individuals are, and obviously I know all of you are not entrepreneurs, but just go along with the story. These individuals were folks that I met at a conference. They were high achievers. They were trying to accomplish more, trying to, to do things. They had visions and so forth. Trying to do stuff on their own was difficult, but then we started this mastermind. It was collectively about 3 or 4 of us, three of us at the beginning. Then we got another one, so it was 4 of us, and we met once a week. It wasn't like this hard, fast meeting where it's like all of a sudden, like, tell us exactly where your money, how many deals you have right now and so forth, and give us what the results you're trying to accomplish. But we just had accountability. There was this peer pressure that wasn't a bad peer pressure, because each of us were striving to be better and to improve. It enforced this concept in our group that everyone wants to be better. You hear the story about you're just as good as the 5 people you hang around with. Well, in this case, it was around the 3 other individuals that we hung around with. So what started to happen was, this is when the podcast really started to take off. I started to focus on strategy to do that. I then started focusing on ways to be able to get more income for TSE. And as I started doing these things, we noticed that literally our revenue went from we literally, I won't give all you details here, but it literally, I just want to let you know, it 3x. It started, and I was like plateaued for a long time, just making the same amount of money. But then I went with this mastermind and literally it 3x. I 3x the revenue. And I was like, this is craziness. So then I thought about this. Could this benefit for sales? So I started doing this with my sales team. Obviously, we do our daily meeting once we started developing our sales team. But what I did as well was that we started to create this idea of a mastermind and work with some of our clients. And what happened was everyone did set a goal, like what they're trying to accomplish, that big vision, so to speak, for the quarter. And we helped them break that goal down into micro goals. And then what started to happen as a result of that, I know I said that like 10 million times, it was just so exciting, is that everyone started to elevate their game. Now, again, these weren't just some scallywag people who didn't know how to sell, or people who were lazy. These were people like you and me. But because they had this accountability, they had an avenue where they could come and practice. Some of them were working remotely and they didn't get a chance to do that role play with their team members, or to bounce ideas off, or to get some tips or ideas of different ways of looking at it. Sometimes we look at one approach and we say, this is the only way that we're going to do it, or only way to do it. However, when we get outside views and change the game, just like it did with my mastermind, and it's the same thing we started with the sales mastermind. When that result came, as a result, at the end of that mastermind, we saw that more than half of the group were earning way more money than they did before. One of the guys, he kept chugging at it, and then came back to the next mastermind and so forth. And as a result of that, dude earned, I think it was about 4 to 5 times what he typically did in commission. It was nuts. It was crazy. So what's the moral of the story? Get accountability. Now, I'm not telling you that you only need to come into our sales mastermind, but here's what I would tell you to do. If you work remotely, if you find yourself in a situation like that, the tip that I would give you is find a peer. Is there another coworker, someone else on the team that you can have accountability with where you could check in weekly? Maybe your sales leader is busy and that she doesn't give time or doesn't have the opportunity to sit down with you. Get someone else that can do that. You can go into our sales, our community. You can find on Facebook or LinkedIn, we have the sales evangelizers. Find a sales rep there. Is there someone that's doing remarkably well? Is there someone that's improving that you can reach out to and say, hey, I want to have an accountability partner, someone that I can just connect with, somebody in my industry or somebody that's just in a different industry that can just give you honest feedback. And then finally, if you do want to check out our mastermind, jump in. Like literally, it is not that crazy. I mean, there are people just like you and me, and folks are just trying to improve. But when you do have that accountability, that one ingredient, that one strategy, it changes the game. Human beings, we get comfortable. Just to be straight up, we get comfortable. And you may not be a slacker. Perhaps you're making like a decent amount of money right now. You're probably bringing in, I don't know, you're hitting quota 80%, 90%. But can you do better than that? Of course, you can do better than that. And that's the whole idea. We want to help you to improve, so you to get to earn more money, and you to get to your the top performing level that you know you can. It's a simple concept. Check it out. If you want to find more details, check out the link below, but it's the salesevangelist.com/mastermind. Again, the salesevangelist.com/mastermind. Get accountability in place and see how that will help you. It sure did help me. I 3x my revenue, and that was remarkable. And I did the same thing when I went into the last mastermind. I participated specifically as well, and I did a lot of outbound, and same thing happened. It's magical, right? It's crazy. So I would love to tell you more about that, but specifically find someone that you can have an accountability partner with. You don't necessarily have to jump into our program. As always, I want you to 3 to 5x your sales pipeline. I want you to be able to close twice as many deals. I want you to raise your level of thinking. I want you to go out and do big things. See you on the next one.